Hi, my name is Kayla.
And I'm Sam.
And this is
Read Lier Wawinik,
a YVC Library podcast. Today, as I'm sure you've noticed, we have a guest host. Hannah couldn't make it to record this episode, but she will return for the next one. Sam, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, so I am one of your reference librarians here. I'm actually really excited to go over this book. I have a really personal connection to one of the main characters and the struggles that she goes through, and I'll talk about that later, but I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, and we thank you for being here. So the book we're going to be covering today is A Curse So Dark and Lonely. What did you think initially of the main characters, Wren, Harper, and Gray? Like, what were your first thoughts when you read about them?
Or does it start?
I think it starts from Harper's perspective. Remember,
right.
She's scouting with her brother.
Yeah.
Gray appears.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, yeah, these characters were so interesting. I mean, you have Harper, who is a, generic woman in DC. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming she's like 25.
I think in the book she's like 18 or 19, actually.
Yeah, I mean, out of high school. Definitely.
Yeah, out of high school, just freshly out of high school, I believe.
So you have this like 18-year-old girl who sees somebody get kidnapped, and then goes and beats the crap out of the kidnapper with a crowbar.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, she has cerebral palsy, which
still a baddie.
Yeah, right. So just that dynamic of like the opening scene is the main character like intervening in a kidnapping
and like clobbering another main character.
Yeah, and then like these kinds of dynamics are always kind of funny. Fast forward, oh yeah, we're BFFs now.
Yeah, we throw knives together. We're chill. We're cute.
Yeah. We're not even not gonna mention the fact that you beat the crap out of me like a month ago. It's all good because I'm a soldier.
Yeah. No.
No problem, guys.
When I saw Harper doing that, I was like, oh, I love a powerful woman being the lead. I was like, clobber that man, save that woman, mess him up. I was in love. And
I'm just gonna go straight into it. The fact that she has CP. So for those of you who don't know, cerebral palsy is typically a birth defect, or caused by complications around birth.
Yeah.
Literally it is paralysis of the brain.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Cerebral brain palsy, paralysis, right? So brain damage somehow causes paralysis.
Oh, I see.
To varying levels of severity, and it can, cause other things to happen. So for our main character Harper, it seems like she kind of has a bit of a what I call a crimped hand.
Yeah.
Like mine. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't see me, but whatever.
He does have a crimped hand, I will confirm.
Come visit me and we'll talk. And a leg that she just drags behind herself, which my CP is a lot more mild. Yeah. I walk with a cane, but I'm not completely dragging my feet. My shoes aren't that scuffed up. I love the representation here.
Yeah, when you brought up this book to me, I was really excited because I like choosing books that kind of are important in a way, whether it be covering minorities or someone with cerebral palsy. So I was really excited when you brought this book to me, and it turned out so good. And I was like, thank you, Sam. I very much enjoyed this book.
Yeah, especially because and then it's 2020 now. There is representation in the disabled community.
Yeah,
but
not enough though.
No, not enough. And to my knowledge, this is the only book that that shows CP in a mild case.
Yeah.
Most of the other times when a main character has this specific disability, they're in a wheelchair, they can't talk.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I have a book coming to my mind, but I can't remember the title.
Male or female?
Male.
Stuck in Neutral?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sam.
Stuck in Neutral is a great book written in the 90s about a middle school kid with CP. He can't talk, he's in a wheelchair, but he has a completely eidetic memory.
Yeah,
If I got that term right.
I'm sure it's right.
Photographic memory, but it's auditory. So he remembers everything he's ever heard in his entire life, which is really cool because he's a middle schooler.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Anyway, about this book.
Moving on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so as for my thoughts about the characters, like I said earlier, when I was first introduced to Harper, I was in love. I was like, I love a strong female lead. She's not letting her disability get in the way. And I was just like beaming. I loved her. And honestly, when we were first introduced to Gray, I was like, oh my god, he's going to be the villain of this story. Because you know how we meet him, he's literally like trying to kidnap a girl, basically. And I was like, Gray, man, you can't have such a cool name and do such heinous things. So I was like, beat him up, like shred this man alive. And then when Ren was introduced, I was like, oh, great. He's kind of like an arrogant, like, you know, POS. Yeah. I was like, man, if you're really going to be like one of the main romantic leads, can you be a little nicer? That was like my first thought when he was introduced. I was like, dude, act like you want to break the curse. I know you're like depressed and it's been a while, but come on.
Well, I mean, but like that's the whole point, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
So the whole like synopsis of this book, it's basically a spin on The Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, that's very fair.
With a little bit of magic Stockholm Syndrome and not just regular Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is Prince Ren pissed off some magic lady,
Lilith.
Which, by the way, so I have issues. Like,
yeah,
you're a prince. You know, you get a whole bunch of women coming to you, and you know you're gonna pick and choose whoever you want.
Yeah.
Why would you have a one-night stand with a woman named Lilith?
That's fair, and like from the beginning, like when we got to the scene where they kind of like talked to each other when it went back in time, she was a walking red flag, dude. Like I could not fathom why he would even do that.
So many red flags.
Like if you looked up evil in the dictionary, I'm sure a picture of Lilith would come up, and her name is Lilith.
Yeah, like have you ever heard of Lilith that is actually good?
Right?
No.
I mean, feel free to tell us if you know a good Lilith. I'm sure there's one out there, but come on.
I don't get it. So Prince has a one-night stand with with Lilith, and then Lilith gets pissed because she doesn't get a call back the next day.
Oh yeah, she's like, oh, I thought we were gonna be, you know, bunk buddies, besties, lovers.
And then she does the whole Beauty and the Beast curse. You're a beast now until you fall in love.
I thought that was odd too, because like not that was the curse, but the thing is he had so many different opportunities to fall in love, but not a single one of them prevailed. And he tried like I don't even know how many times.
Yeah, it's around 200.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but he was constantly trying. You can't help but wonder, what was he doing the first 200 times?
Probably being a prince. I mean, like, right?
I feel like if you're gonna be cursed and that you find a way to solve the curse, I feel like you would try your hardest. And maybe he did. I'm sure he did the first few times, but then he's like, 200 girls later, nothing's happening. I'm ready to go, I guess.
And I also just really enjoyed, like, again, this spin on it, right? So he has what? The whole of the summer, is it summer or spring? I think it's summer.
Yeah, so their place is Iron Rose, I believe it's called. The palace. It's like in a constant state of winter, isn't it?
I thought it was the other way around. I can't.
I can't remember the specifics, but it's in a constant season, and when the curse gets lifted later on, it matches with the town's far out. I forgot what the town was named, but it matches with that season.
Emberfall.
Yeah, Emberfall.
Such a good fantasy name.
Honestly, loved it. But anyways, so Harper marches up to Gray, looking very predatory with this girl, clobbers him, and she ends up being the one getting dragged into a distant land and getting kidnapped while that other girl just runs away. When she first woke up and was introduced into that new land, I was like, where are they? Like the UK? How did he get so far so fast? Because early in the book she was like, yeah, I don't know where I am, but it doesn't look like DC. And I was like, did he walk? Did he drive a car? Like I had no idea what was going on.
I mean, I kind of picked up on the teleportation.
Yeah, I didn't. I was like, huh. but I'm a little dumb, so you guys know that. Just a little bit. Yeah, I honestly, initially, I thought it was like maybe in a different country. What, did you just immediately think it was like probably in a different universe?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it was like, oh yeah, this is a fantasy book.
Well, you're smarter than me.
We're just gonna show up with dragons and whatnot.
Oh, I love a good dragon. So, anyways, moving on. We talked about Lilith already, and we mentioned how sketchy she was. Do you have any other thoughts about her?
I mean, just so sketchy. It is interesting though that, you know, she basically has god level powers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she can float in and out of scenes, just show up, like magically destroy your face and then disappear again.
Yeah, and the torture that she employs, oof.
Yeah. Which, I mean, also, we could go into the psychology of that. Like, could Ren have actually loved her?
That's fair. You know, I never really thought about that. And it, you know, it makes sense because towards the end of the book, she's like, I don't really know if I love you like this, but the curse was broken. So it is kind of hard to dissect their true feelings because, you know, they feel some type of way about each other. Yeah. But not completely.
I don't know. Lilith seems like a straight up psychopath.
Definitely. I forgot we were talking about her for a second. I was like, time for Ren and Harper. Anyways, let's skip ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about the same thing. Anyways, so Harper and Ren, they get introduced to each other. She gets locked up, you know, typical Beauty and the Beast stuff. And she keeps escaping, trying to escape consistently. And she finally does it. And basically, she made it to Emberfall after riding her horse forever in, like, the blistering cold.
He just happens to steal the prince,
yeah, the
prince's
horse,
perfect horse.
Like, his exact horse. Anyway, so she makes it to the town, and she's immediately met with, like, this terrifying scene. There are men threatening a woman, and, like, being disgusting, saying that they're going to kill the children, that the women have her, they're going to keep them for, you know, nefarious purposes. I believe one of them said that they liked them young. It was very disgusting.
Yeah, thankfully that's about as graphic as it got.
Yeah. And anyways, so Harper confronts the scene. Obviously, she's going to get overpowered, and Ren and Gray end up coming up. And before they do that, though, she was, like, talking about a crest that they were wearing, and they were talking about, like, they were, like, reclaiming something for the crown. And Ren was like, what crown? I'm the crown.
I am the crown.
He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm the crown. There shouldn't be anyone else here, like, trying to portray as my, like, royal guardsman. So what crown did you think they were talking about? Because I was like, it can't be Ren's.
I mean, I just kind of assumed that some other, like, minor lord just tried to create his own piece of power, right? Because, I mean, if we take it from a completely medieval standpoint, minor lords would run around and act like they were kings all the time.
That's true. That's fair.
Yeah, so I just assumed it was some random dude's like, hey, we haven't seen the royal family in 5 years. Let me go grab some land and have fun.
That's true. And the thing is, we know that Ren didn't particularly do anything during those years. He didn't really visit his people, and for good reason.
Yeah.
I mean, he was cursed. But anyways, so, you know, the women and the children are saved, and Harper ends up taking them to the inn with Ren and Gray. And surprisingly, when she gets to the inn, Ren lets her door be unlocked, despite the fact that she just escaped and directly disobeyed him. What do you think flipped in his head, allowing her to do that? Because she went from, like, prison lockdown to, like, oh, yeah, your door's unlocked now, have fun.
There could be a couple different layers to that. On one end, you have, holy crap, this girl just put her life on the line for a random peasant.
That's true. It's very admirable.
Yeah, like, she has earned my trust purely based on that.
And I think he has a big pride thing, too. She's like, she saved my people. I want to give her some more freedom. That's fair. I was, like, for me, it happened so abruptly. I was like, this is completely fine with me, but I was kind of like, okay. I mean, I'm ready for this transition.
Yeah.
She's been locked up long enough. Let's go, Ren.
I mean, but also, there's probably just the logic of it. Like, so you almost died. Yeah. Do you really want to escape this inn and go run around by yourself again?
I didn't even think about that. It literally left my head when I wrote the question. I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't get it. But she literally did almost die.
Yeah, like,
to save
hey,
one of his
it's
people.
not safe. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and leave your door unlocked.
Like, I'm pretty sure you see it now. If you go out any farther, you're probably going to get arrowed to death.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I thought that was very interesting. But we're going to, like, skip ahead in the book. So Ren and Harper are slowly beginning to bond. They've handed out food together. Harper's idea, by the way. Gray is teaching Harper to throw knives. All is well. And the thing is, they know that they're surmounting tension. They've heard about the crown, like, that's trying to take over Ren's land. And they formed a plan. Harper is going to pretend to be the princess of DC to try to throw off the armies.
I I love it because early on in the book, right, they're like, "Where are you from?" And she says, "DC." And then in the book, when they respond, it is spelled D-I-S-I.
Yeah, they're like DC. Ooh, foreign.
Yeah, so they just, oh, okay, DC is a country we've never heard of.
Oh yeah, DC being a country and all, of course, facts.
Sure, makes sense because we've been out of touch for 5 years. Things can change. Yeah.
Anyways, eventually Harper ends up asking for a meeting with Lilith because she still wants to go home desperately. We know how precarious her home situation is. Her mom is on her deathbed. Her brother doesn't have the money to pay off the loan sharks. She's stressed out, rightfully so. And eventually, Harper does get that meeting with Lilith. And unfortunately for Harper, she has a bit of a mouth. And she ends up getting slashed across the face, which ends up in 20 stitches, by the way. They literally had to sew her face back together.
20 medieval stitches.
Yeah, 20 medieval stitches. And those things were like thick, chunky as well, I'd like to note. So Lilith she basically blew her chance with Lilith the first time to get home. Everyone is like unsure, they're rocked by what happened. But they're gonna go continue with their plan. They're gonna try to recruit soldiers, quote, who are just kind of there to like intimidate with their numbers. What did you think of their tactic?
I mean, I feel like it could work. But again, I mean, you have like, you have the prince being like, okay, so I don't have any royal guard. I don't have anything. Let's grab random people, give them swords and armor, and make it appear as if I have a royal army again.
Which is very smart, considering he had nothing.
Yeah, really smart. If you could pull it off and actually like train some of them enough to, to pull it off. But Gray does a great job of teaching.
He does. Gray is quite the instructor. Anyways, so they're continuing with their plan, and they're going to venture out to different cities. The first, well, I guess, I don't know if they call it cities back then, probably a town. So they head out to Silvermoon, and immediately they get ambushed when they arrive. It was a citizen who was angry with the crown. I believe he strike down one of the fake guards. Yeah,
so I think it was like a flash mob situation. Like several people just pop up.
And they were like yelling at the prince, basically.
Yeah.
Like, it's been 5 years, you haven't done anything, people are dying and starving. Very dramatic. If you were like the citizen in this situation, you saw the prince that like abandoned you for 5 years while your like family members are like rotting and dying, basically, what would you have done?
I mean, I probably wouldn't have tried to kill someone because then I would die.
That's very fair.
Right?
That's very fair.
But then again, 5 years of destitution and poverty.
So that's a lot of time to build up a ton of anger.
Yeah, and like, who knows? This guy's family could have died.
Oh, yeah.
I
believe like he did have a family member that died because I remember the woman pleads for his life.
Yeah, and she was like she either knew him or a distant family member or something. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure that I would try to harm like the king of the land.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little dumb. I feel like if I were in that situation, my family were starving, getting torn apart by like this creature like every year.
Yeah, because by the way, there's a giant, crazy, insane.
Yeah, Ren's curse. He becomes a beast. Yeah, I think I would have done the same, but probably something more constructed and not as like stupid and lazy. I feel like if I saw him, I'd be like, okay, time to make a plan. I'm gonna get my revenge, but I wouldn't attack right away. You know what I mean?
And I mean that man's life was only spared because of Harper.
Yeah, the only reason his head did not roll is because Harper was like, yo, don't do that. Like, come on, he's upset.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know what would have happened if he would have got killed.
I mean, they probably wouldn't have rallied because that was the moment where, they're trying to parade Harper as the princess of Dissy.
Yeah.
And that's this random princess is showing us mercy.
Yeah.
Let's follow her and try to fight for our land. And
the thing is, right after they had this little venture, they got back to the castle, and there were hundreds of people there volunteering to fight because of her.
Yeah, and not just for food, right?
Yeah, not just for food. They're like, okay, we're going to take our land back, we're going to fight. And honestly, I don't think that would have happened if Harper hadn't stepped in. I feel like they would have seen Gray kill that man who's, tried to harm the prince, and I feel like it kind of would have went all the way down the toilet, if you will.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, were you surprised by all those people showing up?
I was along the same line of thinking as Harper. So, what is it? Like, one of the ladies runs in and says, "Hey, there's tons of people outside."
Oh yeah, she that lady from the inn, she took her on as like her lady in waiting, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the lady in waiting runs in and says, "Hey, there's tons of people outside." Harper's like, "Oh crap,
they're
we
like,
need to
"Oh,
feed them." She's like, oh no, we have to feed all of them, or they're gonna riot
Yeah.
because we don't have enough food.
Yeah, and Ren did bring that up when Harper was initially like, let's pass out food to these starving people.
Yeah, because, oh, by the way, the curse means that
Like food magically appears in
like
kitchens.
every meal there is just an entire like castle's worth of food that just
Yeah.
magically appears.
And the thing is, it still wasn't enough to help feed all the people. They were like actively struggling.
Well, I mean, it's an entire country.
That's fair. The thing is though, like, I know it's like an entire country, but I wonder how big it was. Like,
Yeah,
we
we
didn't really get an estimate on the numbers.
Not really.
So it could be thousands of people. It could be hundreds of thousands of people. Anyways, that is not relevant. The book continues on, and it is getting closer and closer to the time where Ren, has to transform. So he begins to wall himself up again. He's not talking to Harper, and he goes to a different town and completely leaves her behind. He didn't want her to come, but Harper, she's stubborn. She follows him anyways. And then he didn't notice this, but one of their guardsmen's throat got slit.
Yeah, so she's walking up to, I think it was like the
Hutchins Forge.
the governor's
Yeah.
house or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the central, which I'm assuming like town mayor or
Yeah.
whatever, right? She's walking up to this guy's house, and she sees one of their own, like their brand new guards,
Yeah, like the guy who just pledged himself.
like in the bushes with his throat cut.
Yeah. And we find out that the seneschal is the one that ordered the death. Which is, interesting considering that I'm pretty sure they arranged something with Ren. They're like, we're going to kill your guards.
Yeah, because the whole reason Ren is going there is to like make an alliance with this pretty big town.
Yeah. And, the seneschal's like, yeah, no, you make me mad. I kind of hate you. Yeah, I committed treason. And the thing is, he owned up to it, knowing very well, probably, that he was going to get killed. Why do you think he did that?
I'm still unsure, to be honest. Like,
I'm just confused.
either he completely underestimates Gray, which we've learned is a terrible thing to do, or he's just so arrogant, like, you little boy, you have nothing.
Yeah, he was just openly insulting this guy.
Yeah, because I mean, again, 5 years have gone by since the curse started.
A lot of resentment.
Nobody's seen the royal family at all.
They think
like,
they fled, I
Yeah,
believe.
they think the whole royal family, except for the prince,
Yeah.
is just gone to a different country or
Yeah,
whatever.
they're like, they're cowards. They left us by ourselves.
And so I mean, I could kind of understand this, like,
Yeah,
what, you want me to take the prince seriously?
that's true.
Like,
I completely
no, I don't
get
take the
that.
prince seriously. Oh, wait, now my head is on the ground.
Pretty much. He's like, oh, I'm dead now. Anyways, so after this, Harper alerts him, and they end up talking, and they make up after that scene at Hutchins Forge. Weeks pass, and Lilith reappears, of course, and she unveils new information. She grants Gray the ability to cross over whenever he wants to take Harper home. He refuses, even though she begs. Of course, Ren pops in, and he basically is like, you have to go. Like, he's gonna force Gray to take her, and Gray's not gonna say no. He's very loyal to Ren.
Yeah.
Anyways, so, Harper flees the scene right when Ren comes in. She's crying because Gray won't take her home, which is fair because Gray knows of, like, the situation at her home, the mother dying, the whole caboodle.
Like, if I take you home, you're not coming back. And if you don't come back,
We can't break the curse.
and we need the curse to be broken because this is our last shot.
Yeah, what do you think of Gray's actions?
I feel like, I don't know, maybe he stood behind duty
Yeah.
and an obligation to the prince to maybe hide his own emotions at this point.
Yeah, because we know that he has feelings for her later. It was like somewhere in the middle of the book he kind of referenced like, oh, I kind of have my eyes on her as well, but I won't go there because that's Ren.
Yeah, I definitely, I mean...
I feel like that was a good factor as well.
Yeah, and it becomes obvious enough to where Ren points it out. Like,
He's like, hey, I know you have feelings for Harper. It's pretty clear.
yeah, and if this goes bad, go for her.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And
stay in Dissy.
it was very nice. Like, I don't know. I didn't expect it from Ren, especially the Ren we were first introduced to. Anyways,
Really good character development.
amazing character arc. Anyways, so Gray ends up having to take her back. And she has a bunch of, like, jewelry and stuff from the castle. She's going to use it to, like, pay off their giant debt.
And gold coins.
Yeah,
like,
just casual gold coins and jewelry and stuff that you'd find in, like, a freaking treasure chest in, like, the middle of the ocean or something.
in modern day DC.
Yeah, and the thing is, Gray was supposed to come back, like, that night after she took care of everything, but he didn't. 2 days passed, and when he does come back, he collapses in her doorway. And luckily, Jake's boyfriend, Noah, happens to be a doctor, and he's there. So he tends to this man's wounds. This crazy soldier that they didn't initially believe in. They thought Harper was like going through like this weird trauma thing. 'Cause, like, you're not from. You didn't just come from like this weird land. Like,
Yeah,
calm
because
down.
Harper busts in the door and just starts blabbing everything.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I mean, I went to this other land. This prince turns into a monster. I'm breaking a curse. Blah blah blah. And her brother's like, whoa, buddy, you've been gone for a while. Are you okay?
Yeah, because time, there wasn't any time magic. Like, it's literally been as many weeks in Emberfall.
As it has in DC.
Yeah.
Anyways, Gray gets tempted to, and of course, soon after, they're ambushed by Lawrence, the debt collector. Of course, he's like, where'd you get this stuff? I want more of it. And he whips out a gun. You know, greed.
I mean, which makes sense because if I was a debt collecting thug
Yeah.
and, you know, the guy I'm threatening goes, hey, after like all these months, now I have the money. Here's some like royal jewelry.
Yeah.
You're like-
He's like, yeah, I robbed a castle. You know, castles in DC. So
Yeah.
many of them.
It's like, well, if this is what you're giving me, you probably kept the best for yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show up with some heat.
Yeah, he shows up with like his lackeys, and of course he has a gun. He's like, "Give me it!" And right as he fires that shot, because you know they're refusing him, Gray like stumbles into the scene and he teleports them all back to Emberfall, including Jake and his boyfriend Noah. And of course, Gray fills her in. Ren has transformed. The curse is going, and it's a mess. He is hurting a lot of people, and the army that we mentioned earlier, who attacked the woman, they're advancing on Emberfall. They basically, the queen called Ren's bluff. She's like, yeah, I see through your whole situation. You're not stronger. I'm not stupid.
Yeah, she breaks it down like specifically.
Yeah.
None of your soldiers are real.
It was literally like
They are all
a villain
like
monologue.
yeah.
Anyways, it was nuts. So they search for Ren, and they eventually find him. And somehow, some way, Harper ends up like kind of calming him down and taming him.
I kind of had this image of Black Widow taming the Hulk, right? Like the little
Yeah.
lullaby thing.
Yeah, just this tiny little crumpled girl over this like hulking beast, just like taming him.
What sort of beast did you imagine?
I'm not gonna lie. When I heard of like wings and scales, I was like, oh man, he's like a dragon lizard thing.
I mean, yeah, but did he have fur anywhere?
No, I think he was all covered in those iridescent scales.
Okay, so I'm thinking basically dragon.
Yeah, but I was thinking like a dragon, like you said earlier, a chimera kind of thing. Chimera. I don't know how to pronounce
Yeah, Chimera is. I don't know much of the mythology, but it's several different beasts all kind of stitched together.
it. Just this weird, messy hybrid. It's pretty dangerous. Anyways, so she uses Harper. That is, she uses Ren, and she attacks Syl's army with him. She is tearing through these people. Well, Ren is absolutely clobbering these people. There's blood everywhere. There's body parts everywhere.
Which can you imagine that? Like,
No.
like okay, so this war is breaking out, and all of these noobs are just like, okay, we need to fight for our land, and I mean they're going all for it. They're fighting. They're dying, and then the foreign princess shows up riding
The
the
beast
beast
that's been,
that
like, killing
everybody is terrified of
Yeah.
for 5 years. And no, she's just riding the
girly
thing, and making him swoop down and just maul everybody.
Yeah, anyways, they tear through it. They end up having the rest of the army, they're retreating. They know that they don't really have a chance, considering, you know, Ren is in beast mode. But after their victory, of course, the woman we all know and love, Lilith, she reappears. As everyone does. As she does. She threatens everyone, and she was going to use Gray's blade. And Harper jumped in the way. It's sliced, and she got sliced through. Just big old slice-a-rooney. And of course, she collapses. You know, as you do.
As you do if your arm gets almost chopped off.
Yeah, I just think like Lilith first like has this giant like gash on her face that she needs stitches, and then she's like, yeah, I'm also gonna like lob off your arm, or at least I'm gonna try to.
I forget, was it the bad arm? Because I mean, I've like fantasized about cutting off my bad arm anyway.
I can't remember what arm it was, but thank you for that intrusive thought. Anyways, so Gray ends up teleporting Lilith after, you know, he almost murks our beloved main character. And he thinks that he killed her in DC, but of course, he didn't go to check. He ran after he stabbed her a couple of times. And he doesn't reappear back at Emberfall. Even after, you know, Harper's healed, she's awake. And we're kind of left at the end wondering what happened to Gray, you know? But we soon learn that he returned to Emberfall pretty quickly after slaying Lilith, or so he thinks. And he's talking to his mom, and it turns out he's the true heir to the Emberfall throne and Ren's half-brother. Gray doesn't want any of this, of course. He doesn't want anyone to know he's back, and he doesn't want the throne. The book ends. What do you think about the ending?
have so many mixed feelings.
I completely agree.
Yeah, like on one hand, it was a really good twist that I only saw like a couple of chapters ahead, maybe.
I didn't see it at all.
Well, I mean, there's rumors of
Yeah,
Ren
that's fair.
isn't the true heir to the throne. Okay, who else do we know?
That's true. Initially, I was like, well, you would think Gray and Ren would know if they were like half brothers, right? You would think there'd be some resemblance at the very least, and they'd be like, we kind of look alike.
I mean, I've met some half siblings, and it's like,
That's fair.
no, and yeah.
Like, I liked the ending, but I was also like kind of like confused. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was confused by Gray just walking away.
Yeah. Like,
Right? Like, okay, the curse is broken.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this thing you've been dealing with for past
forever.
like, I'm not even going to do the math on 200 seasons divided into...
A bajillion, we don't know. Numbers
whatever.
are weird.
Yeah.
We work in the library, we're not mathematicians.
No. And then, like, and Gray just, no. I don't want to be anything
That's
except
fair.
I just want to be a man.
Yeah, the thing I didn't get those, because, like, we know that he cares deeply for Harper and Ren.
Yeah.
He didn't even let them know he was safe. He just completely went undercover. He's like, I'm not even gonna let them know I'm alive.
And there were so many other times where Ren was like, you have to run away.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And he's like,
because-
no.
because, like, I'm going to turn into a giant dragon and eat your face.
Mm-hmm.
So run. Either run or kill me, because, that's not permanent.
Yeah.
But just... And then at the end, he's like, okay, I guess I'll take you up on your runaway offer.
He's like, yeah, I guess I'll leave and not tell you
After you
anything.
no longer need me anymore.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I mean, everything you wanted happened, and you just kind of ditched. Fair enough, buddy, live your life. But, of course, we would know more about the situation in the second book, which we still need to read.
Which, I'm excited for it. I know you're not.
I have mixed feelings. It all has to do with romance and shipping and all that garbage. And plus, switching perspectives when I don't feel like the story is completely finished in the first book. I'm sorry. What can I say?
Apparently, that's all you can say.
Exactly, that's all I can say.
I don't want to discourage you.
Oh, yeah, no.
I think it's going to be a really great
I'm
trilogy.
sure it's going to be amazing.
I went and bought the whole trilogy myself.
Oh, wow. And the third book just came out as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Well, I'm going to have to talk to you after you read the second one, and
Yeah.
you can let me know your thoughts. But yeah, that kind of covers a curse so dark and lonely. I hope you guys like our guest host, Sam. He's going to be on the show more often. And when it was really nice having you, thank you so much.
Of
You
course.
really lended kind of like, I wanted someone with cerebral palsy, of course, to kind
Yeah.
of like dissect the character more. And it was just really nice having you here explaining cerebral palsy, kind of bringing like attention to it. I think it's really important.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many moments. I could talk about Harper as a character forever, but we are running long. But
Yeah, we're running very long.
one of my favorite lines, she's learning sword play. She's learning how to, use all these medieval weapons. And the trainer says something to the effect of, do you think you'll be able to do this with your injury? Because all these medieval people, they're just like, oh, you're just broken.
Yeah, it was a little ableist.
Oh, 100%. But, so was that age.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Harper, she just says, I was born this way. I will always be this way. Teach me around it.
I really liked that line. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, Sam's gonna love this. Sam's
Oh,
gonna
no.
eat this up.
Yeah, like that's a motto right there, right?
yeah.
Like, teach me to work around my disability. Teach me to work around this issue I have. And I mean, I've said that my whole life. It's really cool to see it reflected in a book like this.
Yeah, it was really nice to see that kind of representation, especially as someone who doesn't really have any disabilities. It's nice to know more about things that I'm not familiar with. So like I said, I just really enjoyed covering this book with you.
Happy I could help.
Thank you. Ugh. Anyways, as always, guys, we're going to remind you to vote. It's very important. If you're not registered, go to it's like the .gov site, the Washington government site, whatever. Register to vote. It's very important. And aside from that, we hope you enjoyed this episode. And I think we're ready to sign off, huh?
Hope to see you next time.
All right. Bye, guys.